So, I am Jean-Pierre Jeunet, and I'm going to speak a little bit about this film I did. And I prefer to warn you, if you prefer to keep the poetry and the spirit of the film, don't listen that I'm going to destroy everything. UGC, they produced my previous film Delicatessen in the city of Lord Children, and I worked with Claudio Sarr too. The first shot is with a fly, and don't ask me why, but in all my films I put some flies. I don't know. Maybe you have to. I think we have to stay friends with the bugs because there are too many, and one day it will be very important to be friends with the bugs. So this, what you are going to see right now, I saw it in Greece during vacations. Exactly like this, and believe me, when you try to remake this kind of thing, it's much more difficult because for special effects guy, it's a nightmare. And I think I remember we did 2 or 3 different ways to get that. I love the introduction of this film. That's the reason I made Amélie, just for the introduction. In fact, I was pretty worried about that because it's 20 minutes without story. You saw the belly, and I remember I wanted to shoot that frame by frame, and by chance I found the stock footage, by chance, because you can imagine the nightmare to shoot that frame by frame. About the credits, sometimes some people don't see the first time how each ID is for one job. For example, this is a costume, and in fact it's not a costume, but it's it's pretty. This is for the set design, and we try to get something a little bit with the kind of game we did for the credits for Delicatessen. I love this kind of game. And this is a makeup. We did a fake Super 8. It was pretty difficult to get that because if you shoot in real Super 8, it's perfect, but in 35mm we had to work after to get this bad picture. And my editor was very good. This is the editor, Jean-Pierre Jeunet. He's the only one with Dominique Pinon who did all my film, Heaven, Alien Resurrection, and he did an amazing job on his film, especially with the credits, because he had to choose the worst on with bad picture, with accidents. For example, now the frame is going to get blue on the right side. You can see that. This is not my idea, and I love this idea. The prop guys gave me this idea. Everybody knows I am a control freak. I prepare a lot. I believe to work. But sometimes when someone proposes me something, I'm very happy and I jump on it. This is Rufus. He played in Delicatessen and in the City of Lord Children. And in this film, we did something. He's old and young. I'm going to tell you something about that later, because this is my game, things I love, things I hate, and that's my favorite game. I did a short film 10 years ago. The French title was Foutaise. Foutaise is something like bullshit, and it was a list of these things with Dominique Pinon in black and white. And I have maybe 200 examples like this, and I was very happy to present the character with these examples. Obviously, that's my own list, and I distribute the examples for the different characters. For example, I hate that, to have the fingers like this in the bath. Maybe I am a little bit mad. This woman played a very small character in the City of Lord Children. If you've got the DVD, this is your work for tonight. You have to find her in the City of Lord Children, and you can write me. She plays in theater in France. She's very funny. And concerning the small girl, the little girl, you know how it's difficult to find a kid, a child for a film. And in France, we have not schools for that. And in fact, she was perfect at the beginning. We had to teach her the role of the game in a set. And after a while, I spoke to her exactly like a professional, exactly like for Audrey Tautou. After 1 week, she was a real professional. They learn so fast, the kid. I'm very jealous because I'm so slow to learn. That's the reason my English is so bad. I'm sorry about that. In fact, as a matter of fact, Fred is here to help me. Sometimes I'm going to ask him to help me. Don't be surprised. I love this idea about the not a CD, the record. It was an idea from Guillaume Laurent, my script writer. He did especially the dialogues for this film. This guy is amazing. And this is another true story. That's my life. I had this golden fish, and exactly the same thing. He tried to escape. He tried to suicide, to kill himself. It was a nightmare of my parents, and obviously, I think maybe not this machine, maybe not this gag, this joke, but at the end, we put the fish in a garden, in a piece of water, exactly like in the film. I used a lot of true story on this film, because I think I began to do this collection of souvenirs of stories from maybe 25 years ago. And you know, obviously, this fish is in CGI, because it's very difficult to direct a real fish, believe me. In fact, we did a lot of special effects on this film. For example, we put some rain, it missed some rain on this shot. And now, look at the sky, because some people don't see the rabbit on this picture, and some people don't see the bear on this frame. Look at the right of the frame. And it's a matte painting from Jean-Marie Vives. Jean-Marie Vives is a very good French artist, and he did Alien Resurrection too. I brought my crew to make Alien. I didn't do a commentary for the DVD for Alien. I'm going to do right now. And I love this shot with the small girl. That's the best shot with her. This is another guy. He is in delicatessen in the city too. You know, in France we have not a lot of good actors, so that's the reason I use them. I work with them because they are so good. This is not a true story. This is not a true story. I didn't do that, but I could. And in fact, this is a final for a French Cup, and I missed it at this time. And sometimes it's when you do a film, it's very good because you can do something just for the pleasure. And that's the reason I chose this final on this film, because I didn't see it before. It was pretty funny to shoot, I remember. The most difficult thing in this case is don't laugh in the stage, you know. This is under the true story, the suicide of this woman in Notre Dame in Paris. And in fact, it wasn't very funny. And a very funny story. Behind the camera, just right now, it was maybe 1,000 people because it was a concert. And we shot during the preparation of the concert. It was a mess. I love this kind of story. That's the magic of cinema.
Amélie se retrouve en tête-à-tête avec son père. Celui-ci, déjà peu liant, se replie encore davantage sur lui-même. Il se lance dans la construction maniaque d'un mausolée.
This is a special effect. And now, a special effect, I don't like it. I promise I missed it. It could be much better. So we did a very... I wanted to make some kind of morphing, and it wasn't good. And at the end, it's very simple. Except that, I love that, the bird. Because we used maybe 4 or 5 takes. Obviously, we shot the bird in a blue screen. And we used maybe 4 or 5 takes. And it was impossible to know, because my editor is very good. This is a matte painting. It's a true café, obviously, Les Deux Moulins. I'm going to speak later about the Les Deux Moulins, but we did a matte painting to erase a bad supermarket. In this scene, I did this small scene in the editing because I was very worried about the beginning of the film because I did a very long introduction and it's just to say to the people, please don't leave the theater. The story is begin as soon as possible. That's the reason I put these two shots. I remember I found the idea during a screening for crouching dragons, something like this. No, crouching tigers and yeah. And I love this film, but all along the screening I thought about my problem, and at the end of the screening I found the solution. This is Dominique Pinot, my favorite actor. In Toronto Festival, it was the best screening, 1,300 people in an amazing place. And when he appeared on the screen, everybody applauded. I was very proud. I called him immediately. All examples, things I love, things I hate, that's my own list. Well, the first shot with the train station, I love the train station in Paris. I was so happy to shoot it.
Mais pourquoi tu profiterais pas de ta retraite?
Pourquoi faire?
Bah pour voyager, t'as jamais quitté Enghien.
Bah, quand on était jeune avec ta mère, on aurait bien voyagé, mais on ne pouvait pas. À cause de ton cœur.
My old friend Bruno Delbonnel was a DP for this film. I didn't work with Darius Khondji for the first time because now he's a big star and it's difficult to get him. And I was very happy because it was almost a first feature for Bruno Delbonnel and he did a wonderful job. Look at this joke. It's so weird because now it could be so easy to erase the fly on the glass. I love this joke, and you know, it's so easy to remember some films you saw with this kind of thing, but when you look for, it's very tough to find it. We spend a lot of time, we saw a lot of stock footage. I feel so, and you can recognize on this frame, you can recognize the poster. That's the poster of the film. We modify the hair. But we used this frame. For this shot, I remember Audrey is very good. Believe me, she is so technical, but she didn't know to make ricochet, and we had to put in digital post-production. And we shot the inside the flats, in a stage in Germany. Why in Germany? Don't ask me. It was a question of post-production. And also because in France we have not a lot of stages. It's a pity. They destroy all the sets, the stages. It's a pity.
C'est l'homme de verre. À cause d'une maladie congénitale, ses os se cassent comme du cristal. C'est pour cela que tous ces meubles sont molletonnés.
When I saw Unbreakable, I was a little bit sad because it's the same idea and it was exactly in the same time. But on the other hand, I am so a big fan about The Sixth Sense. At the end, I am very proud because I love Night Shyamalan. She is in front of a blue screen, obviously, and no comment for the next scene. There are German people. Sometimes French people, but German people. Because we shot in Germany. The reason I used the story of Lady Di, it's because I wanted to explain it's a contemporary story. It's a story of today. Because, I like to modify the reality. And visually, it's very difficult to know if it's today or 20 years ago. And that's the reason I wanted to say, okay, it's a story of today, because I think it's more emotional. It's more easy to get some emotion if it's a story of or a word, not a story about imagination, about fantasy like Delicatessen. I think I stole this idea about the box of souvenir, of memories, with in a Wim Wenders movie, Au fil du temps. I don't know the title in English. In French, it's Au fil du temps, a black and white movie from Wim Wenders. But I have no regret because he stole this idea to a Nicolas Ray movie. He told me, so no regret.
Tandis qu'elle découvre cette cachette au trésor qu'un petit garçon a pris soin d'enfouir il y a une quarantaine d'années.
Audrey Tautou is so technical. Sometimes she helps the Greeks when they had some problem. She helped the Greeks. She has a great sense of timing, exactly like a sportman. And I love that because I am very picky, believe me. But at the same time, she has a grace. She's so beautiful in front of the camera. This actress is very good too. She plays in theater in France, and she loves to do some improvisation, and she's so good for that. When we did some tests, the tests were better than the film because she didn't know the dialogues by heart at this time, and she improved something. It was perfect. It was amazing. You can see the test in the DVD maybe. In France it's the case. I don't know in States, but in England. But I hope so. I hope so. Look in the other CD. You are going to see the test. I hope so. It's a pleasure to make this kind of set because it's so tacky. I can tell you something because my gardener, I have a house in Normandy, and my gardener has exactly the same kind of set at home, and I did some picture to make it. Sometimes with the subtitles you lose a little bit the quality of the dialogues of Guillaume Laurent. Obviously, that's a pity. I think we lose maybe 15% of the film with the dialogues. Maybe the best way you have to learn French. It will be better. It was so funny to shoot this scene. Sometimes when you see Audrey, the back, like in this shot, you can feel Audrey is laughing. You can see her moving a little bit because she's laughing. I love this look. She's so pretty.
Je vis avec la certitude d'avoir laissé ma seule raison de vivre à Paris. Je ne la retrouverai que vendredi en 15, en voyant apparaître ma belette dorée sur le quai de la gare, dans sa robe bleue à bretelles. Autre parenthèse, c'est elle que tu trouves trop transparente. Bisous.
And Yolande Moreau, the concierge, is going to tell a story about the Fontaine Wallace and the Madeleine. That's the best sentence in the film, and you can't understand. It's impossible to translate. I'm sorry, guys. We tried with the subtitles, but it's not the same quality. Sometimes you can feel the haircut is not perfect for Audrey. In fact, it was very difficult to get it, and especially at the beginning of the shooting. After a while, we learned, but it was difficult. Look at this shot. This one, the white shot is going to come. This one. It's not a matte painting. It's exactly like in Montmartre, and that's the reason you have to come to Montmartre, because it's an amazing place. You can believe me, I live in Montmartre. And this guy, Jamel Debbouze, is a big star in France, a huge star. He does some one-man show, and it's on history in the theater when he plays. The other guy, the grocery man, I met him for a commercial, and that's the reason I stay during the cast session all the time. And it's very important. For each character, I see maybe 20, 30 people to choose the best one. And it's very important because it's so easy to direct actors when they are good. And if you do the best choice, it's finished. You have nothing to do after. This is a real set too, no matte painting. I spend a lot of time to do the scout location. it's very important when you shoot outside. Before, for my previous film, I did all the film inside in a stage. But for the first time, I was outside. That's the reason I spend a lot of time to find the sets. For this scene, everything is in improvisation. It's pretty rare because I prefer the dialogue very, very well right. But on this scene, I push the guy to modify all the sentences, and he is very good for that. I love this man.
Voilà. Oui. Tu sais, quand je pense que ton fils a 50 ans bientôt et que je suis obligé de lui faire sa comptabilité, hein.
Faut dire qu'à 15 ans, tu lui mettais encore le dentifrice sur sa brosse à dents, alors tout se paye.
Alors, Camus,
when she speaks, the woman speaks about the hole in the leaves. It's an allusion about a song, a French song from Serge Gainsbourg, if you know Serge Gainsbourg. We push the color in digital process. We push the green because in 35 millimeters it was impossible to get the green. I had a problem with the green. It's it's a new technology, the digital timing, and I pushed it in for the DVD, and sometimes it's a little bit too much. I have some regret about that. And I shot this scene, and we missed completely this scene the first time, and I found another idea. And we did a retake, and this idea about the music in the big hall, in the big station, that's the reason. It was because I loved in Shining from Stanley Kubrick, the music in the hotel. Yes, it was amazing. I love that. That's the reason I used it. This is Mathieu Kassovitz. You know, he's another director. He did The Hate, he did Assassin, he did Les Rivières Pourpres. I met him in a short film festival a long time ago, and I remember he told me, "For you, I will do everything what you want." And it was the case. And we have not a lot of young actors in France, and we have no Leonardo DiCaprio or Brad Pitt in France, and this guy is very good. And in fact it's a scandal because he doesn't work a lot. He is very lazy. He arrives on the set and everything is easy for him. I am very jealous. I hate him, in fact. No, I'm kidding.
Salut papa. Je vois que tu t'es fait un nouveau copain.
Non, j'avais depuis longtemps.
The story of the garden gnome obviously is not a true story. I heard this story maybe 200 times. My costume designer, Madeleine Fontaine, told me for the first time this story. Sometimes you are pretty lucky outside. In this shot, we didn't put any fans. The wind is a real wind, and the sky, it was exactly like this. Sometimes we are lucky, but it's pretty rare. That's the reason I prefer to shoot in the stage. Obviously, we pushed the color in digital. We had to dub all this scene, and I hate that. Audrey is very good for that, but in general I hate that. When I saw this cafe is very close to my house in Montmartre, and when I saw it for the first time, I decided to shoot it in all the film in this cafe. I remember I asked the waiter, "Did you have any shooting on your cafe?" And she told me, "Yes, never again." And I remember I had to spend 1 year to convince them to shoot in this cafe. And now, believe me, they are so happy because everybody wants to see the place of the shooting. And now we have some visitors from States, from Japan, from Germany. And I know the price of the cafe is much more expensive, believe me, because they want to sell the cafe, and it will be much more expensive. All the life of the Nebo Road is different now. Everybody wants to visit the set, the grocery, there is a bakery with the bread of Amélie, the baguette of Amélie. The train for tourists says every day, "This is the place where shot Amélie Poulain." It's absolutely amazing. A guy told me the last week, "That's your fault, the price of the flats are more expensive in Montmartre, that's your fault." This is another guy, I worked with him for a commercial before.
Bah ouais, c'est moi. C'est pourquoi?
Look at this costume. It was very courageous from my costume designer to propose it for me because it's so retro.
Pour faire canoniser les Didi.
Ah ouais. Ah bah non, merci, non. Ah non.
It's a real set. I love this kind of set in Paris. The subway outside. We have a couple of lines outside in Paris and I love that. Look at the sky in the right of the frame. It's very small, but we made in post-production because it was white. You can understand now how I am picky. Sorry. Audrey Tautou doesn't like to do improvisation, and you are going to see right now the only improvisation from Audrey Tautou in the film. And if you have in the DVD the outtakes from Audrey Tautou, you will see the reaction just after, because she's going to laugh just after. It was the only improvisation. Oh, I remember this day. I was very upset in this set because I heard a very bad TV series in France used the same location just one month before, and I was very upset. And I was in a very good mood, and I spent 1 hour to find the frame. And at the end, it's a pretty nice shot. And this is Serge Merlin. I love this guy. He played the boss of the Cyclops in The City of Lost Children. I love this man. This is his own hat. And the last week he was in the post office in France with his hat because it's winter right now in France. And everybody recognized him. Everybody was so proud to meet him. He could cut the line, you know. Everybody wanted to make his photocopies, and he was so happy. This is the first week of shooting, and I hate that. I hate to begin a film because always the first week is very bad. But it's impossible to remake, obviously, because it's very expensive. Maybe for Woody Allen, I don't know, but not for me. And look at this shot. It's out of focus. And I was so upset to discover it during the mixing at the end because we saw the dailies every day in a small screen on TV and video. And I discovered the bad things at the end. It was too late. I chose the paint from Renoir because I love Impressionists and because it was free in terms of rights. We are going to see right now a joke with the camera filming the clock on the street, and it's very difficult to understand. I am not happy about that. I think it's very bad. The reason is we are in stage. It was impossible to see the street like this behind the window. That's the reason we have a curtain just in front of the window. But I don't like this thing. And look at the haircut. It's very bad. That's the first week. It's always very bad. And obviously you are very upset about your assistant because he prepares the schedule and you hate him at this time. Look at the haircut. It's ugly. She's like a cat, a wet cat. Rue Mouffetard. This is another very nice place in Paris. But it was a nightmare to shoot, because when you have a lot of stores, a lot of shops, it's very difficult to close the street. You know? Oh, I love that. I love to eat a small piece of the chicken. You can, if you don't know that, you have to try. But the best piece, believe me. The weather this day was very bad. That's the reason we pushed to the color and digital. But we can feel, because it missed some shadows on the street, on the walls. Maurice Bénichou, this actor, plays with Peter Brook, the theater director. For this scene, I used 2 cameras. It was pretty rare on this shooting, but I wanted to avoid to do this scene a lot of time, because this guy had to cry. It was pretty difficult for him. I prefer to use just 1 camera with short lens. I love short lens, because maybe when I was young, I loved so much Orson Welles movies and Sergio Leone's movies. And when you use a short lens, it's very difficult to put on another camera, obviously, because the camera is often very close to the actor.
En une seconde, tout revient à la mémoire de Brotteaux-d'Eau.
And that's my own souvenir. Obviously, when I was a kid, I loved Tour de France. And the story about the bee, comment on dit les billes? The small ball. Yeah, it was a story. I knew this story in my school, but by chance I wasn't the victim of this story, but I saw it. I love this guy. I did a lot of music video and commercial with him. I saw it exactly like this.
C'est incroyable ce qui vient de m'arriver. Ça doit être mon ange gardien, c'est pas possible autrement.
We have just 1 angle on this scene, one way, you know, one angle, because I couldn't shoot the opposite angle, because outside it was a lot of people on the street and it was impossible to close the street. In France, you have to understand, it's very difficult to shoot outside, because the people sometimes are very mean. I remember one time a guy parking his car just in front of the camera, and I remember he told me, "I fuck the cinema." In this case, what can I do? You know, we had to wait for the guy 1 hour. Don't come in Paris. It's a nightmare for French people. And this film is a big lie, believe me. Paris is very different. We have a lot of dog shits on the street. It rains every day. And we have a lot of traffic jam. It's very different. This film is a big cheat. Except Montmartre. Montmartre is very nice.
Je crois qu'il serait temps que j'aille leur rendre visite avant de finir à mon tour dans une petite boîte. Vous croyez pas?
You are going to see the end of this shot on the outtakes on the other CD. Believe me, it's much better than the film, the outtakes.
Tout est parfait en cet instant.
The Steadicam
la douceur
shot,
de la lumière,
the
ce
very
petit parfum
famous
dans l'air, la rumeur tranquille
bridge
de la
in
vie.
Paris.
Elle inspire profondément et la vie lui paraît alors si simple et si limpide qu'un élan d'amour comme un
And
désir
the next scene,
d'humanité entière.
it was a story I wanted to make from a long time, because when I arrived in Paris, I saw a lot of blind men. I was in a neighborhood with a lot of blind men, and I wanted to make that from a long time, but it's very tough to do that in the real life. I am too shy for that, and in fact it's easier to make in a film. And I am very happy because I received a lot of letters, 100 letters for this film. And some girl did the same thing as Amelie with the blind man, exactly the same thing. I love this kind of story.
Allez, allez,
This is Rue Le Pic, my street. Now, believe me, they are famous, and I am like the godfather in the street. They love me.
45 le travers de Micelle. On arrive chez le fromager, 12,90 le picodon de l'Ardèche et 23,50 le cabicou du Poitou. Chez le boucher,
And the last shot with the subway. It's a little bit further. It's this one. It's on other place in Montmartre. It's a little bit like a real set. Look at this set. It's amazing. You know, I like Paris. It's very nice. Dubois did this kind of special effects. Dubois is a French company, and they did all my films. Look at the pasta, the noodles. You can see the small smoke, and we put it in digital because it missed during the shooting. It didn't work. If you want to believe about the story, you have to have this kind of small details. It's very important. Dubois did Alien Resurrection too. I brought all the crew to make the special effects for Alien Resurrection. And Pitoff, the special effects supervisor, now is a director. He did a film with Gérard Depardieu. And it's a pity because he was the best one. Now he's a director too. I love to shoot the actors very close to the focus, to the lens. This is a parody of a very famous show in France. Frédéric Mitterrand is the nephew of the President Mitterrand. He did an amazing show about the Hollywood stars, the king and the queens, and I love this show. And the voice you can hear is Frédéric Mitterrand. He did himself for me. He did himself the voiceover. And I remember he asked me, "Do you want a parody of myself?" And I said, "No, I respect so much your show. I want just you make your voice like in a real show." In fact, I did this scene before the shooting with a kind of maquette. Is it correct? A kind of storyboard, a real storyboard, and it was the first scene we saw 1 month before the real shooting. Maybe you can recognize the garden. We put the golden fish at the beginning of the film. Maybe not. She's so funny when she cried. I remember I was behind the camera and I laughed so much. Obviously, she pretended to laugh, to cry. We stole this shot in the train, like for a short film, very quickly. And this is the only night of the shooting. I try to avoid the real night because it's very expensive for a shooting. And this night, it was the shorter night in the year because it was in June. And now I can feel it because I didn't have enough time to shoot everything what I needed for this scene. And it's pretty difficult to understand when she has a stone in her hand. And it was because the night was too short to do everything. I love the sound effect on this scene. I love to play with everything, the sound, the costume, the set, everything. You can see how we pushed the green on the walls. It's not completely natural. For this shot, we used an American crane, Aquila, that's the name, Aquila. Behind the camera, believe me, it was maybe 2,000 people. I love to shoot very close to the floor, to the ground. That's the influence of Sergio Leone and Orson Welles too. And I love the train station in Paris. I spend a lot of time with my small video camera to understand the frame alone during the weekend. I love to think alone during the weekends to prepare the week. I do. You can see the making of in the film. You will see it. And this is another shot with the super techno crane. You can see the big frame, the big poster on the right of the frame, because we changed all the poster everywhere on the film. And this is my favorite shot in the film. Everybody didn't want to believe we are going to do this shot in one shot, with this special effect. And it was a Steadicam in a Western dolly. But at the end we had to erase some people at the window. By chance, this set was very clean. When we made it, it was completely clean in the spirit of the film. And now in Paris, I saw it the last week. They built a bus station just in front of. We couldn't shoot right now. Paris is changing every day. I'm going to tell you something about this book later, because it's very important in the film.
Tu parles d'un album de famille.
And we go back inside the Café Les Deux Moulins. I love this actress. I met her because my producer Claudio wanted that, because I didn't want to meet her before, and it was a mistake. I love her. She's so good. She has an accent from the east of the France, because I come from the east of the France, and during the rehearsals we found this idea. It was a joke between us, and now she's very funny because the accent. In fact, I had nothing very good for Dominique Pinon on this film, because I didn't like very much this character, the jealous guy. It wasn't very interesting on the script. And Dominique Pinon asked me to play that. And I said, Dominique is not very interesting. And he told me, trust me. And in fact, at the end, it's very funny. And everybody loves him in the film. And it's not because the character is very interesting. It's because Dominique is a very good actor. This woman, Claire Maurier, played in the François Truffaut's film The 400 Blows. She played the mother of the kid, of Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Et lui, le salaud, il m'a lâché au moment même où j'entrais en piste. J'étais toute retournée, et du coup, le cheval aussi.
I love this story. It's from Guillaume Laurent, my scriptwriter.
Allez, l'amoresque.
N'empêche, les coups de foudre, ça existe.
It was a pleasure to shoot in this cafe. It's so close to my house. I spent maybe 1 minute to go to the shooting in the morning. It was the same thing with the sex shop, my own sex shop in Montmartre, and the grocery too. It was so useful to go to shoot, walking.
S'il vous plaît.
Oh, je peux plus. Là, j'y vais.
Now all this scene is dub, and I hate that, except sometimes with some actors like Audrey Tautou. She's so perfect, you can feel the difference. Sometimes it's better.
Mais ouvrez les yeux. Elle est là espérer une miette d'intérêt de votre part et vous n'en avez que pour Gina. Quand on voit à quoi elle en est réduite pour essayer d'attirer votre attention. Il faut vraiment que vous soyez aveugle.
I love to work with the same guys, because when you find very good guys, it's useful and it's faster to work with them, and I push them to do the best, and they love that. And I discover a very good sound guy, a sound man. And he was so picky, believe me. In the next shot, you are going to see something, a small detail. Because he loved so much to put some mic everywhere. You can't imagine. And on the next shot, on this shot, you can see the table in the middle of the frame. And behind the foot of the table, there is a cable on the floor to get the sound for the two women. And I remember if I moved the camera, you could see the cable, but he was so picky like me. He knew exactly what I needed. He knew exactly I want move the camera. It was a kind of game between us. I asked this woman to have a IQ very low. I remember I asked her, descend the IQ, it's too high. And she did. She's so stupid on this scene. She's like a bird. This is a woman, you know, I love the old French movies from the 40s, from Marcel Carnet, for example, in black and white, like Children of Paradise. It's not my favorite, but I say this title because you know Children of Paradise. And at this time, in France, we had a lot of good actors like her. We had some trouble for this scene with drug dealers on the set. We had to pay them to stop to do some noise. But the nightmare of Paris, of the shooting outside in Paris. And they do the deal just in front of a police station. Believe me, it's amazing. Now, this collection, I have to tell something. It's a true collection. Obviously, it's not the true book because we had to make a fake one because we would have to get the authorization from people. But the real collection exists. A friend of mine in Montmartre, his name is Folco. He did this collection during the 80s. He spent maybe two years to find this bad picture, and the real book is a masterpiece. Believe me, it's a masterpiece. And everything is true, even the story of the guy who repaired the machine at the end of the film. I hope you saw the film before, because I'm going to tell the end of the film now. I hope you saw the film before the commentary.
Un mort qui aurait peur de basculer dans l'oubli. Eh bien, pour eux, en tout cas, c'est gagné.
When we did the fake book, I remember it was pretty funny because I think we will see that in the DVD, in the bonus, and because obviously I had to do some bad surprise for the actor to get a strange expression, and sometimes I said, "Oh, you have something on your hair." They moved and click. Okay, it's finished. It was a big frustration for them.
Autrement dit, elle préfère s'imaginer une relation avec quelqu'un d'absent que de créer des liens avec.
You can see the small piece of blue on the left of the screen. That's because we did the timing in digital and we could get all the colors and we push all colors. I wanted an explosion of color for this film because it's a positive story. For Delicatessen and the City, it was more monochrome, and for this one, I wanted to use the digital timing. It was the concept of the film. You are going to see right now a very funny footage with on horse escaping from the field in the middle of the Tour de France, and obviously we didn't shoot it. It's a real stock footage. A lot of people ask me about that. Look at this horse. It's amazing. It was my own collection of memories about amazing things I saw on TV in France. And I was very happy to get it for the film. We shot in a real stairs in Paris. For one time, the people were very, very nice on this stage, on this set, on this location. The reason we put some fog on this scene, it's because the weather was very bad. And okay, it's bad. I prefer to have a special frame, and we put the fog. It's pretty difficult to use because we have some wind in the street, but it's a little bit better now with the fog.
C'est pas de sa faute. S'il dort pas la nuit, c'est de la faute à Lady Di. Vous savez ce que j'ai découvert ce matin dans le camion? Le catalogue des 3 Suisses ouverts au chapitre des nuisettes. Il avait découpé la photo des pin-up pour y mettre celle de la princesse à la place. Alors, ma petite fille, ce coup-ci, c'est une petite botte d'asperges ou alors les archives du quartier?
Rien.
This is another nice place, this store disappeared in Montmartre. Every day, Paris is different. You have to come very quickly, very fast. Another small special effect from Dubois.
Alors, on dirait que ça va mieux.
I learned something in Hollywood. I learned it's very important to understand everything. It wasn't the case in the city of Lorchedouan. I think we missed a lot of things because sometimes it was very difficult to understand. And I learned in Hollywood during the test screening, it's very important to understand everything. Maybe that's the reason I put the key inside the pocket with a special effect. And maybe it's too much, sometimes it's too much. But I prefer that than the opposite. In the bottom of the cafe, you can see my wife, Lisa. She's American, in red. In the back of the café.
Et votre livre, sinon, c'est une histoire d'amour?
I love this character. This guy just finished a film in France, like a director, and I love this sad character, like Robert Le Vigan in Le Quai des Brumes, my favorite French film. For that, I hired a Japanese guy who did shatsu. Shatsu is a Japanese technique to move the bones, you know, your skeleton. If Jamel Debbouze, this young star, said yes for this small character, it's because he's a big fan of Alien, a big fan. My production designer is Aline Bonetto. She did Delicatessen and the City of Lorchedouan too. She was she did the props. She made the props for the city, and she's very good. She has a good taste. This scene, I imagine this scene because, like all directors in the world, I have some very bad critics sometimes, and I remember I had very bad critic in France for the City of Lorchedouan, and I remember I wanted to kill this guy, and I imagined a revenge, and that's the revenge I fought for him, but it's better to put in a film, obviously. I think all directors in the world have someone hating you everywhere. It's the case in States, in Los Angeles Times. It's the case in London. Everywhere you have one guy hating you. You don't know why. One critic, yes. I love the quality of the green and the red on this set. This is the only long lens of the film. It's normal because it's a binocular. Some people ask me, is it a reference for Delicatessen when she moves on the bed? And the answer is no. It was just a chance, a luck by hazard. After a while, you begin to see your film like another spectator, like the audience. And now I can tell you, I don't like when she signs the Z on the door, like Zorro. I don't like it. I would like to cut it. But I don't want to modify the film for the DVD. I think it's not a good thing. You made a film, that's the film, and that's it. And I don't want to show the cutscenes, and in fact, I don't put a lot of scenes in the garbage. I prefer to work a lot of before. That's the reason I did 18 drafts for the script. I did a storyboard. I prefer to work before. I hate to put the work in the garbage. It's too expensive and it's too tough to make a film.
En dehors de ça, tout va bien.
Tant mieux. Tant mieux.
Il y a quelque chose qui va pas.
Rufus is very good to play on old men, and the reason is he played Freud in theater for a long time just before the shooting, and so he could practice. You know, look like he walked. He's very old.
Moscou, et voilà.
Jean-Marie Vives did the Polaroid for the Garden Gnomes. Like a matte painting.
Je ne comprends pas. Je ne comprends pas.
And same crane, Aquila, American crane. We did this special move in post-production. Look at the picture above the bed. A German artist, Michael Sowa, did this picture, and I love him. You can find his book for children books. It is so good. He's a big star in Germany, and he did the sketches, and Dubois did the animation. He did a sketch for the pig too, and we built the statue, and we did the animation in CGI. This guy is very good to, not to improve, but sometimes I love to make something. You do a take and you don't cut at the end of the take, and you say one more time, and it's a big pressure for the actor. He begins again and one more time and one more time, and the stress is very good for that. It depends the actor. It works with him. It doesn't work with Audrey Tautou, for example. I think a director has to find the best way with each actor. Each actor is different, and you have to find what they like and what they dislike. It's very important. This is a real set. We didn't change anything. A real location. So there is a place on the left of the screen, a wide place, and the reason I wanted to put on description a sentence like at the beginning of the movie, and it wasn't funny. I wasn't happy about that. That's the reason. It's nothing. It's an empty place.
Il dort dans les chauffleurs.
Quoi ça?
Il dort dans les chauffleurs.
You can see the different haircuts and clothes for Georgette, because now she's getting in love.
C'est la première fois, je sais pas comment on fait.
Écoutez, voir ce qu'on va faire, c'est que je vais en prendre un aussi. Et puis comme ça, on va le faire ensemble.
I love this scene. It was so funny to shoot.
Il faut gratter là, là, hein, là. Et de manière latérale. Rien. Et vous?
Non, rien non plus. Alors au jeu.
C'est ce qu'on dit.
Her accent is very, very funny. Maybe you can judge.
Faut que j'y retourne.
Too bad.
Allez.
Look at this phone. It looks so big, and it's a real phone. It's not the incredible Shrieking Man. We didn't do a fake one. And maybe because I use some short lens, and we can get this kind of strange thing. And the eyes, the Audrey's eyes are so big, maybe because the lens is helping for that. I did the same thing with Winona Ryder for Alien, and she was like a deer. I love this kind of thing. But you have to pay attention to the short lens. It could be very ugly too. It depends the quality of the face of the actors. On this scene, this is the only scene I wrote the dialogues. I hate that because it's like, you know, when you hear your own voice in an answer machine, it's very disturbing, and I hate to listen my own dialogues. That's the only scene I did. Can we recognize the caviar? I hope so. It was too small to put caviar on the box. Everybody could recognize the champagne.
Et tu chantes près de Monsieur Collignon.
Monsieur Collignon.
This guy, Jamel Debbouze, did a lot of TV shows in France, and he's very good to do some improvisation. And this scene is a mix between the dialogues and improvisation from him. Very difficult to translate too. But it's not important, that's my own dialogues.
Ah, voilà, tu vois quand tu veux. Allez, Collignon.
You can see in the set, because there is a real set, not a location, the things, you know, behind Jamel. Because as this old man is sick, he's very fragile, we put some protection everywhere in the set. And I saw The Exorcist, and they did the same thing. I forgot it. And it often happens this kind of thing. I remember for Delicatessen the idea about the water in the bathroom, and maybe 5 years after I saw a short film with Laurel and Hardy, and they did the same joke, exactly the same joke. Maybe when we were kids with Marc Caro, we saw it and we forgot it. It's often the case. Look at this picture, isn't it amazing? And I found this stock footage by chance, looking for other picture. I love that. That's my own collection of strange pictures. And now there is a sexual scene. And that's the reason, maybe that's one of the reasons. It's in States, the film is rated R. It's amazing. In France, it's nothing, you know, because this kind of scene is so sexual. And it's worse in Singapore. In Singapore, it's forbidden until 21. Can you believe it? And they ask us to cut all the scenes with sex. And obviously, it's a very pornographic movie. And if we could cut the sexual scenes, it could be forbidden until 17. I can't believe it. Singapore. I love this shot. In fact, I understand, I say a lot of time, I love this shot. This is an improvisation. Vive la France, vive la France. This is a very good improvisation. And you can see, if you do forward, you can see Audrey laughing. this kind of small details, the spoon, the bottle of alcohol later, it's very difficult. You have to prepare a lot to get this kind of special effects. It looks so easy, and in fact you have some small engine under the thing, under the bottle, under this glasses to get this kind of special effect. It's a nightmare. But I love this kind of nightmare, and my crew too. It looks so easy. When she screams at the end of the scene, believe me, it was very funny to make.
Un petit vin chaud avec des spéculoos.
I don't know why. For me, this scene is very emotional. I don't understand why. When she has a very little smile at the end of the scene, it's very emotional because maybe that's the only moment everybody knows. Look at this small smile. I love that. She knows exactly what he means, and he knows exactly she understands. That's my sex shop in Montmartre. It's very close to my house, just across the street. Because you know, Montmartre is, Pigalle, this place with sex shop, is just in the bottom of the hill. It's a very different neighborhood than Montmartre, and it's very close to Montmartre.
Bonjour, je peux vous aider? Excusez-moi, j'ai trouvé cet album dans la rue et j'ai...
We shot 2 days in this location. And in fact, it wasn't very funny because after a while, you feel a little bit bad, a little bit, it's a little bit sad, the object, the things. And I shot some different things for states, and I can't avoid the waiter, the whore. I can't avoid it. I love this kind of collection. I don't do any collections, but I love the idea of collections.
Et puis d'autres trucs du genre des rires à un moment, dès qu'il entendait un rire un peu rigolo, paf, il enregistrait.
This is another woman I worked with her for commercials.
Eh ben, pour sa petite amie, ça doit pas être facile tous les jours.
In the outtakes in the DVD, you will see some very funny things with Audrey. She's so charming.
Pour quand ces cafés?
Allez, il faut que j'y aille. Merci pour l'album.
Ouf, non, c'est bon. J'ai un peu de temps, je vais lui ramener moi-même à la foire du trône.
Ah bah comme vous voulez, hein, la chenille des Carpates, demandez Nino Quincampoix, comme la rue.
I'm very happy to have this kind of color for the ghost train because we had a luck this day. The weather was very cloudy. And we pushed the color with the timing, obviously. It wasn't easy to mix, to match outside and inside about the ghost train, and it doesn't work very well, but I think it's not very important because inside the ghost train it's so weird, so poetic. I think it's not very important. Because obviously this is the real ghost train, and now we are in stage, in a set, in Germany. We loved these dailies when we saw it because it was in slow motion, and when it's slow motion it's different than you see during the shooting because the set was very short, obviously, and we had to get a longer shot. That's the reason I use the slow motion. And it's more magical like this. I love the sound effects on this scene. It was the first day for Mathieu Kassovitz, and he didn't know Audrey Tautou at this time because he finished the editing for Les Rivières Pourpres, and he had no time to meet her. I was very worried about that, and he worked very well between them.
Marcel, bon j'y vais, hein. Mercredi.
Mathieu Kassovitz doesn't speak a lot on this film. This is another guy, Tiki Olgado. He played in Delicatessen, and in the city too.
Rendez-vous demain 17h, manège de Montmartre, près de la cabine. Munissez-vous d'une pièce de
This
5
small joke with the 4 pictures, it looks very easy to, and in fact it's a nightmare to do, especially for the actor. By chance he is very technical because he has to play with himself with a voice a playback, and he has to play with piece of tapes. It's not easy to make.
Vous la connaissez? Vous l'avez vue?
Eh bien sûr qu'on l'a vue. Elle nous a glissé dans la poche de sa chemisette. Contre son sein.
Et elle est jolie?
Oh, pas mal, pas mal.
But I love this kind of challenge.
Jolie, hein? Oh non, non, belle. Jolie. Jolie.
Et qu'est-ce qu'elle me veut?
Elle est fauchée. Elle espère une récompense en échange de l'album.
In fact, this guy wasn't an actor maybe 10 years ago. He was a manager for rock stars, and he began to be an actor, and he is very good, very technical.
Elle est amoureuse.
Je la connais même pas.
Monsieur, tu la connais.
Depuis quand?
Depuis toujours. Dans tes rêves.
Look, you are going to see something. I love this kind of details. Matthew Kassovitz is going to close his eyes. Up, just right there, you saw it. And the pigeons fly away because we did a sound. I think it was a fire with a gun, you know, to get the pigeons. And I love this kind of details in a film, in a DVD, in a commentary. I am here for that. The merry-go-round is here every day. It's not all set. It was a location. It's exactly like this. But this small kid, the little child, he was here by chance. He played alone, and it's a chance. We weren't lucky about the weather this week, and we have different moods in terms of look at this shot. It's very ugly because we tried to change the sky, and we did, but we have no sun, and in 2 or 3 shots we will have a lot of sun. Sometimes it's happened. I hate that. I want to control everything. Et voilà. Now you have some sun. I love this statue. My makeup artist and my costume designer did a wonderful job to get that. I remember when we met this guy, he was in the street in Paris, and my assistant asked him, "Do you want to make a movie?" And it worked. He was still immobile in the street, and he said, "Is it a joke? Is it a joke?" He tried to speak without moving, you know. "Is it a joke?" Another long lens, only for binocular. In general, if you want to know everything, I shoot only with 25mm, 18mm, 17, and sometimes with 14, and that's it. Another bad shot with under the sky. And the 2 girls were here by chance. It was a luck.
Allô?
Je sais qui est la connue des photomatons, monsieur Quincampoix. C'est un fantôme. Nul ne peut le voir.
I love this kind of game Amélie does. I do the same thing, for example, when I want to make a gift for a girlfriend. I hide the gift inside my flat and she has to find it. It's pretty funny. It works, guys, it works. You have to know it works. You can try.
Vous êtes qui?
Page 51.
In the first time we made this picture very well, very nice picture. And in fact, it was fake, and we remade with a true photo booth. And it's much better like this. I love the shadows on the floor. I did a video music exactly like this. And I love when Audrey is looking at the camera inside the lens. It's so rare. And I remember I wanted, at the beginning, I wanted to, oh, this is another sky we changed in digital. And I wanted to do some safe shots without looking at the camera. And I said, no, it's a risk, I know, but I'm sure it will work. And I am pretty proud about that. I didn't tell anything about the music. At the beginning, I wanted to work with an English composer, very famous. And one day, I came to the shooting, and the driver, it was a young girl. She put a CD inside the car from Jan Tiersen, the French composer. I didn't know this guy. It was a revelation. I said, "Oh my God, it's exactly what I need, exactly what I look for." And I bought all the records, all the CDs, and it was perfect. And I hired this guy, and he was busy because he finished a CD for himself at this time. And in 1 week, or maybe in 2 weeks, he did 19 pieces of music for me. He is absolutely amazing. When he is in concert, he plays piano and accordion in the same time. He's absolutely amazing. And we used a lot of old records he did before. And that's the best way for a director, because you have just to choose. In fact, it wasn't easy to choose because everything worked. Everything. You can buy the DVD, the CD in good stores.
Disons de taille moyenne. Pas une naine, une girafe, normale quoi. Jolie dans son genre.
Sometimes Mathieu was in a bad mood because his own editing was pretty tough, and he tried to put everything, every detail in the floor with his arm, Oh, sorry, it was an accident. And I am so picky. I spend maybe 1 hour to adjust every details, and he knows me by heart. He knows exactly what I don't want. And he doesn't like to rehearse. And during the rehearsal, he pretended to be bad. And suddenly I remember I said, okay, rolling. At this time he was perfect. And he did a big smile. I hate him. This is another idea from Guillaume Laurent. I didn't speak about the voiceover. When I was a kid, I loved the American series Untouchables, and it was a voiceover very funny. And the French guy who did the voiceover, I hired him, but he was too old. He was 75 at this time, and you can hear he was old. And I had to find another idea. And André Dussolier, a French actor, he was very, very charming and very good, but I spent a lot of time to find him. I did some tests with maybe 120 people before. Another revenge against my bad critic, my bad enemy in France. I can't complain because I had 450 good reviews in France and only 6 bad critics with this film. It's so rare. I think it will be the only time in my life. I am pretty proud about this shot. I work all the time with the same grip, and after a while it's exactly like a family to work with the same person. I love them, they love me, and sometimes I hate them and they hate me. But for good reasons. I love the mix of the green and red on this shot.
Un jour couleur d'orange. Tu te souviens, Madeleine, chérie?
Ton Adrien qui ne t'a jamais tant aimé. Bonne nouvelle.
At the end of this shot, you are going to hear a sound, and this is the quality of my sound editor to finish the scene with a point, a punctuation. I love the train station in Paris. And you see on the right of the frame, we changed all the poster all the time on this film. I didn't want to have any advertising in the film. I love this sound effect. It's so weird. It doesn't make sense, but it works. I love women with big shoes without socks, like her. I remember Jacques Chirac, the Président de la République in France, because we did a special screening for him. He asked me why she has some ugly shoes, and I show my own shoes, and he told me, okay, I understand. It was an amazing screening. It touched me all the time. It's brilliant, man, it's brilliant. You have a lot of special effects, and we can't see them. He told me it was the best evening in my life, and I thought, okay, a life of a president of la République, it could be very boring. Every politician in France wanted to speak about Amélie because it was so a huge success. Everybody wanted to say, okay, I love it, I saw it, you know, especially politicians. This is a pretty complicated shot because, you know, the camera descends, now you have a track and a tilt and a boom up. This is a tilt and a boom up. And now a tilt down. It looks easy, but it wasn't. And to understand this story, only the sound tells the story, because it was pretty difficult to understand. She changed the density of the light. Listen, he screams like a pig. I love the quality of this set, the green and the costume too. You won't believe me, when we shot here on this location, where we made the paint this day, I saw a guy with a white paint, and I asked him, what do you want? What do you do that? And he told me, that's my job. I do that every day. Today, I am here.
Une heure plus tard, au 11 boulevard Saint-Martin, Amélie entre dans un magasin.
Maybe that's my favorite scene. I suppose I told you 100 times that, but that's my favorite scene. Yeah, really, that's my definitely favorite scene. That's the reason I made this scene, for this scene. I told you that at the beginning of the film. Okay, it's not a problem. And I love the sound effect for this scene. And the voiceover too.
11h40.
This guy is a Canadian. He's so excited. He's so... he loves to work. It's exactly the opposite than a French guy, because in France we are so cynical. And this guy, I love this guy. He loves so much to work. You can feel something on this shot. You can feel the slow motion is not very good. It's because we did it in post-production. Usually I hate that. But Audrey was so nice, so beautiful on this shot. I didn't want to remake it.
À ce moment précis de l'histoire, Amélie est la seule à connaître la clé de l'énigme de l'inconnu des photomatons.
And I love this fake, this white fade out, fade to white. Pas mal. Not bad.
Pour moi.
And now you are going to listen another nightmare because we had to make a sound editing about the letter, and it looks very simple too, and in fact it was very tough. We did it with my editor Hervé Schned, and we spent a lot of time for that. It was exactly like in the scene, for the scene in Delicatessen with the bed. When the bed is noisy and when they make love and everybody moves in the building, it looks very easy, and in fact it's a nightmare to make.
Dans peu de temps, je gagnerai suffisamment bien ma vie pour acheter une maison. Et je me prends à rêver que des temps meilleurs viendront bientôt. Que tu me pardonneras et que tu viendras me rejoindre un jour.
We cheat a lot for this scene. We put some different noises. If you compare when she reads the letter, we cheat a lot. You can see that. This is the father of the production designer assistant. You can see the kitchen on the left of the frame. It's very green, and I love this idea. It's a Bruno Delbonnel's idea, and when he proposed me that, I was, okay, are you sure? And now I love that. You have a warm set, and in a small part on the set, it's completely different. It's green.
De son mari, avec 40 ans de retard. Ça fait beaucoup quand même à Monsieur Dufayel.
When Jamel speaks about the stars, I remember I put this dialogue on the City of Lost Children for one per man, and I cut it. It was very frustrating.
Mais en attendant, tu ferais mieux de soigner ta couche maigre. C'est gras sur maigre, toujours.
This is another improvisation from Jamel.
Monsieur Dufayel?
Oui.
Dans les journaux, il disait aussi que bientôt il allait avoir une nouvelle étoile.
Ah bon, tu t'intéresses aux étoiles maintenant?
J'ai vu une émission de télévision chez ma maman.
And the story about the satellite, it's a true story. I would like to see that. It's so poetic.
Ils vont prendre les cendres de tous les riches qui se font incinérer. Vous voyez? Après, ils vont la mettre dans un satellite. Après, ils vont l'envoyer dans l'espace. Et il va briller pour toujours, le satellite. Et les Didi? Vous croyez qu'ils vont faire la même chose pour les Didi?
Les Didi, mais tu me fatigues à la fin, hein? J'arrive même à me concentrer, hein? Les Didi. Renoir.
I was in States for Alien when Lady died, and when I came back to Paris, I was very shocked about the utilization of her death, because everybody, wanted to sell newspaper for that. It was ugly, awful. Another stock footage of my own collection. And a very optimistic stock footage now. The first idea about this film was to make a positive film, to get a smile. And in France, a lot of people wanted to see the film a lot of times. We did 8 million people in France. It was #1 in 2001. But maybe we did only 6 million or 5 million people, but they saw the film a lot of times. I received a letter, a kid, saw the film 12 times. This is under the sky. We changed it, and this one is wonderful because we have some leaves just in front of, and you can see, you can feel it. Obviously on your screen, because now you are watching the film in DVD, it's easier to avoid the defects. But in a big screen, it's much more difficult. Rufus said maybe 200, je ne comprends pas, I don't understand. Maybe 200. It was so difficult to choose it in the editing.
Épatant, tu pouvais pas faire mieux.
Et ça a donné quelque chose?
Ça suit son cours.
En tout cas, je suis prête à recommencer quand tu veux. De toute façon, le mal est fait.
Comment ça?
Blanche-Neige, c'est comme ça que tout le monde m'appelle maintenant.
I did a lot of scouting location myself because I wanted to show the Paris I love. It was very important for me. It was, and you know why? Because I stayed 20 months in Los Angeles to make Alien, and I wanted to show to French people how Paris is nice. And you know, when you are abroad, when you are far away to your country, you know, you feel how your country looks so nice. Look at this place. It was a day of holidays. Place d'Enfer Rochereau, if you want to know. Always the same, right? A train station, Gare de l'Est. In fact, we did one station with two train stations, Gare de l'Est and Gare du Nord. It's a mix of both. A puzzle. This film is a big puzzle.
Eva?
Sometimes Matthew looks so sweet, so charming, and it's very funny for me because, like a director, he does some very tough films with violence. Now there is a scene, another scene like a short film. I did this kind of short film maybe 10, 15 years ago, and this is a very, very, very special scene. And in fact, I wrote the scene when I found the stock footage.
Deuxièmement, il n'a pas eu le temps d'achever la reconstitution parce que 3 truands multirécidivistes qui venaient de braquer une banque l'ont pris en otage. Poursuivis par tous les flics du département, ils ont réussi à
And the end of the scene looks a little bit less funny right now, and you are going to understand why.
Il ne se souvenait de rien.
When I wrote the scene, it was impossible to imagine
Ex-Tolar l'a pris en stop.
one day
Et le croyant, en cavale,
what happened.
l'a planqué dans un conteneur en partance pour Istanbul. Là, il est tombé sur des aventuriers afghans qui lui ont proposé de partir avec eux pour voler des têtes de missiles soviétiques. Mais leur camion a sauté sur une mine à la frontière du Tadjikistan. Seul survivant, il a été recueilli dans un village de montagnards et il est devenu militant moudjahidine. Alors Amélie ne voit vraiment pas pourquoi elle se mettrait dans un état pareil pour un type qui va passer le reste de ses jours à manger du porch avec un stupide cache-pot sur la tête.
I love this kind of move because maybe I love an American director. I think it's Barry Sonnenfeld. He did Men in Black, for example, and he does this kind of shot a lot of times.
Un café.
And this scene for me is a little bit like in a Frank Capra movies, and I like it. Maybe there is my favorite scene. I love this mistake. And there is my favorite shot in the film, believe me. Look at this special effect. Up. We needed maybe 18 takes to get it. It was very difficult. Audrey learned to write in reverse because it was very difficult to write all the menu on the glass like this. It looks so easy. And in a couple of seconds, you are going to see the smile of Matthew Kassovitz, the killer. He has an amazing smile. And just after the movie, he did an advertising for Lancôme, the perfume Lancôme. And for me, it's very funny because that's the guy who did the Hate.
Ensuite, il va se retourner et là, il va me parler.
Excusez-moi. C'est vous?
This is a smile. The killer.
Si, c'est vous, ça.
We put the glass inside the cafe, it doesn't exist. And every tourist asks the boss, where is the glass? She writes on, where is it? Where is it? And there is a joke with Dominique Pinon. And everybody laughing in the theater, everywhere, everywhere. And the joke is going to happen right now. I think it's because this special effect. I think because I loved so much Takes Avery. And a long time ago, I wrote a book about Tex Avery. And I did a lot of pictures. At this time, it was very difficult to find the prints, but I did, and I was a big fan. Now he's a big star, everybody knows Tex Avery. And I was very sad because he couldn't read this book because he died just 1 week before I sent it.
Il est en train de réfléchir à un stratagème.
Ah, elle aime bien ça. Oh, les stratagèmes.
Oui.
En fait, elle est un peu lâche. Je crois que c'est pour ça que j'ai du mal à saisir son regard.
Obviously, we did some fake subtitles. I suppose in Russia it's very funny because obviously it tells a different story. As I said, she didn't know to make ricochet, and we had to put in post-production. The prop guys, the prop men did the ricochet. And in fact everything is fake because we had some takes with the train, some takes with a good move from Audrey, and we did a mix in post-production.
Vous faites quoi, monsieur Dufayel?
Dis-moi, mon petit Lucien, pour tes livraisons, tu as toujours les clés des autres locataires.
It was very tiring to work on this train station because it was very noisy. It was a big place, you know, with a reverberation, echo, a lot of echo, and at the end of the day we were completely exhausted. Aline Bonetto, my production designer, did this set, and it was very tough to shoot because we had one place for the camera. One. If you move the camera a little bit to the right or to the left, you can see the camera. And I remember we were outside, it was impossible, just the camera and that's it. I suppose she saw that in a Busby Berkeley movies, in a musical from the 40s. He did this kind of special effect. I hate his jacket at this time. It was too late to find the right costume, and you can see his jacket is only on this shot. After he has a nice raincoat, very shiny, much more interesting. Always the camera on the floor. We did 7 or 8 takes for this shot, and I had just one good because just one with the focus. That's the problem we had, to see the dailies in digital, in video.
Un étranger terminé.
I remember I found this idea to upside down the frame with Matthew. When I arrived on the set, it was very late, and I pretended to have this idea earlier. Why we don't have the machine to do that, you know? And they want to get the machine. And we did this shot with the real train, and at this time the train was finished, and we pushed the wagon for the end for the next shot because it didn't work at this time. But the friends, I love this move. Thank you, Sergio Leone.
Regarde-le, il n'arrête pas de me surveiller. Ça me rend malade.
16h05, manifestation publique de conspiration féminine.
Oh, bah dis donc, ma Georgette, là, t'es tendue, hein, t'es tendue, ouais.
Day after day, we learned to do a nice lighting inside the cafe because we stayed 3 weeks in the cafe, and the last scene are much better than the first one in terms of lighting.
Je sais que c'est pas vous savez où je peux la trouver. Mais elle est pas là, elle est chez son père, là. Écoutez, ça m'ennuie un peu, je voudrais vous dire un truc ou deux, mais je termine mon service à 6h. Vous pouvez repasser, là. D'accord. À tout à l'heure.
Voilà, 16h08, arrimage programmé.
And this is the return of the garden gnome for the father. This location was so noisy because it was close to the airport in Paris. We had some trains and some airplanes. All this scene is in low angle because I thought they are very upset, they are going to fight, and it will be more impressive.
14h50. Poil de chameau. 16h17.
And it's a perfect location for that because the roof, the ceiling of the location is perfect with the neons, you know. You can see that.
Si elle avait la conscience tranquille, elle se mettrait pas dans un état pareil.
Mais, oh, j'en peux plus ranger, moi, Madame Suzanne. Alors la psychopathe, c'est Poupou.
I used a lot of old American jazz in the cafe because I didn't want to put more Frenchy music because Jan Tiersen, okay, but I prefer to put American music on the cafe. And I wanted to buy them for delicatessen 10 years ago, but at this time it was too expensive and I couldn't. I love the old jazz from the 20s, 30s.
Tu parles, je parie que c'est même pas de lui, ça.
Oh, bon, faut pas croire, hein. J'ai quand même quelques idées à moi. Mais je finis toujours par me les faire piquer.
We closed the cafe, obviously, for the shooting, and the tabac for the tobacco shop for the cigarettes. And everybody wanted to kill me in the neighborhood because, you know, a lot of French people smoke. And I was very happy because I don't smoke. I am the only French guy without smoking, you know. And I was very happy to close it. But sometimes they enter inside the cafe very upset. I want just my cigarette. Yes, but you know, it's closed because we're shooting a film. Yes, I don't care. I want my cigarette. I remember Isabelle Nanty said, I am not the seller, I am not actress. Yes, but I want my cigarette. But I am an actress. I want my cigarette.
Il est structuré mentalement. J'aimerais bien savoir un peu plus sur vous.
Posez-moi des questions.
We are going to see the next shot. I love it because it's the stair of Montmartre and I wanted to show them. And the scene wasn't very good. I wanted to cut it. And I had a very good idea to keep the end of the dialogues when they are very far and you can't recognize it's not the right dialogues because they are very far away and you can see we are too far. But it's not the same dialogues. They are telling another story. Very bad.
Jolie petite demoiselle du 5e. Il faut que je vous raconte. Vous croyez au miracle?
Aujourd'hui, non.
Vous allez être surprise. Et si je vous disais qu'une
I can tell you something. When she disappeared, it's because the stairs are finished. It's a very small set in Germany. And that's the reason the concierge has a very bad look. She looks for a good direction. It's very difficult. She has to imagine Audrey climbing the stair, you know what I mean? Oh, so that's my favorite scene. Definitely, believe me, that's my favorite scene. It wasn't easy to make this kind of sync between the picture on the left and what's happened on the right. I remember I told to Audrey the story of the picture on the left. That's the reason she smiles just right now. And that it was the only scene between Matthew and Jamel Debbouze. And now they feel like to work together. Maybe Matthew is going to make a film with Jamel one day. I love when he moves this thing and it moves on the right. I am very proud about this idea, very proud. That's my favorite scene, I repeat. But I am a little bit ashamed about the cat because I'm sure I stole this idea in a book, but I don't remember which book. But I know I read it somewhere. That's the story of the heart. Everybody steals everybody.
Amélie?
And now, there is my favorite scene, definitely, when she here at the... I found this idea very late, and we had to destroy all the set for that. It was the last shot in the set. You can see when she cried making the cake, you can see the outtakes. She tried to cry, to have real tears. All actresses love that.
Allez dans la chambre, mademoiselle Poulain.
When we did the shot with the old man for this scene, it was so emotional. I remember my assistant cried, and we did only 2 takes, and that's it. It was so special. And I didn't show this scene to Audrey before the shooting, and right now she's discovered this shot for the first time, and she's very impressed. She is very moved. It was a great moment.
Alors, allez-y, nom d'un chien.
Obviously, we put the curtains in post-production. And this is now my favorite scene, definitely. In all theater everywhere in the world, I can tell you, we have a complete silence in the theater. And I was pretty worried about that before, because you know, one laugh in the theater and the scene is dead. And always it was a complete silence. Except one time in the south of France, because the speaker said, the person who parked the car outside, you know what I mean? And this guy killed this scene, definitely. It's not easy to find a different way to show a kiss in a film. For Delicatessen, I had the idea to put the kiss underwater. And I was very happy about this idea. And I saw it a lot of times in American movies after. And this time, I love this scene. It's very nice. And I received a lot of letters from young girl and guys too, because they are moved about romantic story. They don't want to hear about condoms and this kind of things. They prefer romantic stories, love stories. You can see also outtakes in the DVD to kill the poetry. And at this time, with the cat, everybody in the theater, they are released. Jamel is pretty funny on this scene. It was another shot, and I had to cut because the move of camera was bad. And I am so picky. I don't want to show something not perfect. I mean, nothing is perfect, but we try, you know. Matthew has some tattoo, and with her hand, she hid the tattoos with the fingers. A lot of pigeons fly away on this film, and I love that. And you can see that in the François Truffaut's movie, The 400 Blows. Look, the pigeons. One more time. You can see that a lot of times in Paris. And again, the best part of the chicken. Just behind the camera, you have a lot of traffic jam. It was very noisy. It's not cool like in the shot.
À l'aéroport international. Nous sommes le 28 septembre
I love this machine.
1997, il est exactement 11
It's
heures
so
du matin.
hypnotic.
À la foire du trône,
You
à
could
la base de la chenille des Carpates,
watch
la
this
machine à
machine
balancer les guimauves,
2
Madame
hours.
Guimauve.
It's perfect.
Au
It
même
was very
instant,
difficult
sur
to
un banc
cut
de
it
square vide,
in
Félix
the
découvre que
editing
le
room.
nombre de connexions possibles dans un cerveau humain est supérieur au nombre d'atomes
This
dans
is a
l'univers.
real thing. It's not a joke.
Pendant ce
This
temps,
is
au
true.
pied du Sacré-Cœur, les
And
bénédictines
you know
soignent
this
leur
small
revers.
scene, very
La
charming. I
température
saw it
est de 24
in
degrés
Montmartre.
Celsius, le taux
It's
d'humidité
true.
de 70
I
degrés
saw it.
et la pression
But
atmosphérique
it was
de
inside
990
in the
hectopascales.
couvent. And I put this scene outside, obviously. It was pretty funny to show that because, you know, when we are in close-up, the moped is without wheels, and they were so stupid on this moped. Everybody laughed in Montmartre all the day. I tried a lot of things, and I kept only the smile and the happiness for the ending. And to finish, I did a small joke with the actors because I love this kind of things to thank the actors because I love so much the actors. I did with Delicatessen a kind of thing like this in the city too. So now you have to forget everything I said, and you have to watch the film without the commentary because at the end it's much better, and at the end we don't care about what I said. We don't care. Thank you, and bye bye.